Hello. Um, Good day to look at Justice Clarence Thomas. Last week was such a busy news week. I took time to absorb some things, and I tried closely to read the articles and follow the legal discussions when possible. And 12 days ago, I did a reading on Ginny Thomas and some money that she was paid in an article that had come out. And when I did that, it brought up her best friend and spouse. But in that, what I didn't really say was that this is the sacred value stick. And it was way outside the circle over here. And I didn't comment on it because I didn't realize it was out there. So briefly, what's happened is that Publica, and if you have a chance to look at it, I would. It's got pictures and it's very detailed, and it talks about his vacations for 20 plus years with the Harlan and his wife. And it was so influential that Thomas even issued a statement. And the statement is, well, this was really okay until they changed the rules. But that really misses the point. It's, if you are in a sacred trust and you have sacred values and you hold the court to be sacred, they wouldn't be thrown out over here. If you know that there's a hole in the ethical, or basically an opening for personal, there's a hole in the rules and the law that covers everybody for disclosures and limitations on gifts. And there's a so-called hole about personal hospitality. So, if you're going to go to a family or your good friend's house, you don't want to basically disclose, I had a glass of wine, it cost this much, a glass of champagne, it cost this much. The simple things, it's basically to avoid the simple things that you would normally do whether you were justice or not. Well, he didn't meet the Crows or become close personal friends till after he was a justice. And this is so far beyond the intent of this exclusion. It's like you had a small hole to kind of let things so it didn't capture everything. And he turned it into a cavern to basically excuse everything, including trips on planes and trips on private planes that weren't even related to so-called hospitality. So I wouldn't pay so much attention to the exact wording of the rules. There's a lot of experts that said this was way beyond the rules even before they did some adaptation and change. It basically throws out the whole idea that you have any rules. And then when you basically get to self-regulate yourself and there's no body over you, you get to design the hole however large it needs to be. And when someone narrows it a bit, you'll find a way to make that hole even bigger. And what's broken is any concept of a sacred trust. There's corporate people that have more ethical responsibilities. There's many people in many different careers that have ethical responsibilities that if they did a similar thing to this, it would be a breach of their ethical responsibilities in many different careers. So here we go. But Supreme Court justices are appointed for life. We do not have the only mechanism to remove one is, unless they die or resign, is through impeachment. And the impeachment under our current House would never get started, and under our current Senate would never get voted on. So let's look and see what's going on with Thomas. But it is very telling that he bothered to actually respond and issue a statement. That's unusual. There's been other criticisms or articles that come out that he never needs to respond to. And then there's the other little tidbits coming out about Harlan Crow, that he has Nazi memorabilia in his house, basically displayed like a museum. And it just, we'll see what else comes out. But in the Jenny one, I said there's more coming out. And I think this isn't the only thing that's coming out. I think we'll probably see things with the Jack Smith, whether that Jenny Thomas was involved to a certain degree, allegedly in funding. She was certainly reported to be involved in the organization for the event on January 6th with Trump. So I think there'll be more that comes out, but this was a big kick. So let's look at Thomas, where he is, and we'll see. Oh, I need a worry doll. Okay. Clarence Thomas, what's going on with you? What's going on? What's going on? Clarence Thomas. We'll start with the Firestone is here, and this is mineral, and it's, I have to stick my head in that, touching earth. This is communication that's coming home. This is almost looks like a bridge, but it's the values. So the communication that's recently come out has brought, this is the deep water, and earth has brought the issue of what's hasn't been known about values to front and center. It's basically called a lot of attention to the court. And this is right in the center of earth. So currently now there's a lot of attention about what has come out. And here's the gifts right here. And this little gift symbol. So when we go from fire, we have two water stones. There's a blue water hidden here and a deep water hidden here. And one of the claims of personal hospitality is that it's really not business. It's, they didn't discuss any court issues. But it would be interesting to see whether, to know whether Harlan used his funding for these trips and wrote them off as business expenses, which would be a whole different treatment that I just had some friends over. The blue water here is moving from mineral into home. So this story is going to catch more. It's an interest of people, and it makes them more aware. And when everyone becomes more aware about the values and the ethical lapses, or basically rules really don't apply to us, then more people become aware and they really want something done. And the earth stone is over here in water next to the deep water, and there's the left hand is here and a dice here. So earth, like what's going to happen with this is the center of earth. Earth is home, so the home could be about the court or his family. So what's going to happen, it's basically receiving a lot of messages and gifts that's come out. There's a certain throw of the dice here. So it's possible that there's more than one outcome to this. We see one path here. And Sorry, I have to study. This is live. I had to come up with it while I'm here. I tried doing cards on this, some different cards I have, and I really couldn't get a clear pathway to Thomas leaving the court, other than there's a lot of calls for an energy about that issue. Over here we have the jade ring, and in it is the worry doll that represents Clarence Thomas. On this is the nature stone, and the feet are coming out here. The nature stone in nature is basically who you are, the true nature of who you are. And on one side is fire. This is a sheep. One side is fire, a magnet. There was an interesting article about the Nazi collection at Harlan has, and there's also, he has collected statues, like outdoor statues that he has collected of different key figures of the totalitarian, authoritarian, Mussolini, etc., all out in his garden. So there was Twitter talk basically that is Thomas one of his collections? Does Harlan basically also collect people? Is he just a collection, like basically a sheep that is part of your herd? Is he just someone's sheep that follows along? And the ring here is, I'm not sure what that means, but it could mean part of a group. This it's a relationship ring. This could be about his relationship with the person that we've been talking about. He is totally surrendered to this ring, and this is very much defines who he is. What's interesting is this moves into earth. Here's the rice bowl. And rice is your basic sustenance, your basic, for many cultures, their basic food. For him, this is his basic, what he feeds off of, what he wants, his rice bowl, what his provisions are. Like, he partially lives off this. They go on, at least, it's listed, one trip to Indonesia, other trip to Texas. This is part of his basically ration, or rice ration, or he expects this inflow, and his life is based on this. This is very much a part of him. Now, interestingly enough, where is it? Over here is Santa Claus. I found these little, and Santa Claus is right here. There's two shells. So there's another Santa Claus, let's say, that brings gifts that maybe we don't see yet, and there's a key here. So there might be somebody else with the money that's in power, and here's the watch here. There might be someone else that is a big supporter, either of Thomas, or pointing again to the court, big Santa Claus that brings gifts to the court. That might come out. The boot over here, I put that in because there's a lot of this that went on in Texas. Here's the shell here, the mountain stone here, and this can mean summit the mountain of your greatness, or oh, it's basically everyone, his friends are with him. His so-called friends. They're with him because he has a position of power. Where's the platform of power? And this is the platform of power. This can also be his position of power. And this is why he has these connections and friends. And from all accounts, from photos and things, it looks like he very much enjoys this position of power that he has. Now, right here is the relationship ring. It's in mineral, which can mean story, and it points right here to communications that want to come out. And there's one block here to disclosure. There's an organization. I think this is also about the more information coming about his wife, or even about both of them and their adventures. And this ring, which the elephant ring, which is usually my fun ring, or community ring because of elephants, but the elephant represents the the Republicans, GOP. Here's the hummingbird here. So messages about the GOP, but when it stands on its side, it's like the portal, this open portal. It means we're taking over the country like an insurrection, the insurrection part of the GOP. So there's more messages to come. I don't see yet a clear pathway. The court is definitely in some murky place. There's indications that we'll get more information, and that public opinion is starting to change. But this bridging here of sacred values was last time way over here. This is going to be front and center as the issue of the court, and basically how they subsist and feed themselves. And that's the look at Thomas's. Really wish I could say a timing, a place, but I do, as a backdrop, this scenario, or what we're going through, is creating a great deal of energy. So all this energy here, this is all in the story, this is all in coming to light. And this energy will eventually help change the court and relook at it. The other person I like to follow is Senator Whitehouse. He has some very good articles and summaries, and his messaging is very concise and simple. So in these stories, when we build up, this will help us change and reform the court and to how they basically subsist and feed themselves. And I don't know how people will be so happy with the yacht clubs, the special hunting, the new, under Trump, the new justice, the new federal court appointee, Ho, that got sworn in at Harlan's private property in front of a fireplace with Ted Cruz. This coziness, this gift giving, this attempts to change the courts and bring them further right. I think this is going to continue to be the great deal of focus and hopefully reform. Thank you.